Hello friends, I'm Dr. Jyoti Sorout from Department of English, Gandhi Memorial National College, Ambala Kent, Haryana. Today, I'm going to discuss with you a famous ballad of John Keats, La Belle Dame sans Merci. John Keats was one of the most famous poets of English Romantic movement. He was born on 31st October 1795 and died of tuberculosis on 23rd February 1821 at a young age of 25. He wrote poems, ballads, lyrics, and odes within his poetic career of 5 years. La Belle Dame sans Merci is a famous ballad composed by Keats in 1819. Before discussing the poem, let me tell you something about a ballad. A ballad is a long lyric poem which tells a story often about love. Ballads were meant to be sung by the common people. Keats successfully employs this medieval form of poetry by making La Belle Dame sans Merci a ballad. The title, La Belle Dame sans Merci, as we can note, is not an English title. It is in fact derived from the title of a 15th century French poem by Ellen Chartier. The title means a beautiful lady without mercy. Like a typical romantic poem, the ballad takes us into a supernatural world where there's a fairy and a mortal being, where it becomes very difficult to judge what is real and what is imaginary. So let's start the discussion of the poem La Belle Dame sans Merci. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? The sedge has withered from the lake and no birds sing. As we can see, the poem opens with a question. There's an unnamed speaker who asks a question to knight at arms as to what is wrong with him. What is his problem? Why is the knight wandering all alone? And why does he look so pale, so suffering, as if he's dying? The speaker says that the sedge means grass. The sedge has died out from around the lake and there's no chirping sound of birds. It means it is almost a winter season. The first line of second stanza is the same as that of the first stanza. Here the poet has used the literary device of repetition. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, so haggard and so woebegone? The squirrel's granary is full and the harvest's done. The repetition device has been used to emphasize on the condition of the knight. Since the knight doesn't answer immediately, so the speaker has to repeat the question. The speaker asks the knight the reason for his haggard and woebegone look. He asks why is he sad and depressed looking. The last two lines of the poem, the stanza, set the scene by showing that squirrels have filled up their granary stores for winter and crops have been harvested. I see a lily on thy brow with anguish moist and fever dew, and on thy cheeks a fading rose fast withereth too. In the third stanza also, the speaker talks about night's face, which has become quite pale and anguished. He looks feverish, almost dying. The rosy tint on his cheeks has also faded. It suggests that something terrible has happened with the knight and the speaker wants to know what it is. And now we get the answer by the knight. I met a lady in the meads, full beautiful, a fairy's child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, and her eyes were wild. From this stanza, the tone of the poem changes. We can notice the change in the use of pronoun from the third person pronoun thy and thee to the first person pronoun I. The knight answers the questions of the unnamed speaker. The knight says that the reason behind his suffering condition is a beautiful woman whom he met in the meads, means the fields. The lady was like a fairy's child. She had long hair, her foot was light, her eyes were wild and attractive. From the use of the word fairy, it becomes clear that the lady was not of this physical world but of another higher world. The knight is mesmerized by the beauty of that fairy lady, and in the next stanza, he talks about how he made a garland for her head and bracelets too and fragrant zone. She looked at him as she did love and made sweet moan. The lady looked at him sweetly and lovingly. She also made sweet moaning sounds while loving him. So here we can see a sexual imagery used by Keats. I set her on my pacing steed, and nothing else saw all day long, for sidelong would she bend and sing a fairy's song. Pacing steed here means the running horse. The knight puts the lady on his horse to take a ride. They spend a day together. He sees nothing else all day long. The lady leans sideways off of the horse and sings a fairy song for the knight. So this stanza and the previous stanza, both of them, they have sexual connotations. The song sung by the lady is not an ordinary song but a fairy song. So it also suggests that she belonged to a supernatural world. She found me roots of relish sweet and honey wild and manna dew, and sure in language strange she said, I love thee true. Here the first person pronoun changes to third person pronoun she, indicating that there is a shift in the emphasis from the knight to the lady. And the lady got tasty roots, honey and manna for the knight. And manna is a heavenly food. So this word also makes the fairy lady seem supernatural. The lady tells the knight that she loves him, but we have to note that it is a strange language. It is in a strange language that she confesses her love. Here we can see the use of ambiguity and unreliability of the knight. The knight doesn't understand the language of the lady. Maybe he hears what he wants to hear. Maybe the lady never confessed her love. Maybe she said something else. The lady took the knight to her elfin grot, and there she wept and sighed full sore, and there I shut her wild, wild eyes with kisses for. Elfin grot is the cave for the elves, and it is again a known fact that elves are supernatural creatures. So in that elfin cave she cries and sighs. The knight doesn't give us any reason why she cries. He only kisses her eyes 4 times to console her. And there she lulled me asleep, and there I dreamed. Ah, woe betide. The latest dream I ever dreamt on the cold hillside. The fairy lady lulls the knight to sleep, and there he starts dreaming. The use of the expression, ah, woe betide, and the use of the dashes, it suggests that the knight had a horrible dream on the cold hillside. And what was the dream about? Let's find out. I saw pale kings and princes too, pale warriors, death pale were they all. They cried, La Belle Dame some mercy hath thee hath in thrall. So the knight describes the condition of the pale kings, princes, warriors which he saw in his dream. And there's the use of the word pale 3 times in just 2 lines. It gives us an ample hint that the death is just around the corner. And all of them, they cry out that La Belle Dame some mercy has enthralled you, has captured the knight, and now the knight is in bondage, and the lady is a beautiful lady without mercy. In the next stanza, the knight further describes the pale warriors who, with their starved mouths, cry out their warning. The knight wakes up from this dream suddenly and finds himself on the cold hillside. And now we come to the last stanza of the ballad. The knight ends his story and gives us the answers to all the questions of the unnamed speaker. He tells him that is why he is alone and palely loitering. That is why he is hanging out by himself. The last three lines of this stanza are the exact replica of the last three lines of first stanza. This is the use of the repetition device by the poet to give the poem a cyclical structure. So the poem ends where it started. Now we come to the form of the poem. The ballad is divided into 12 stanzas of 4 lines each. They are iambic tetrameter quatrains. A tetrameter denotes the number of iambs per line, and iamb means a pattern of unstressed and stressed syllables. So if we can take a look at the first line of this poem, oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms? So there is a pattern of unstressed followed by a stressed syllable. Dadum, 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 dadum. Further, if we can examine carefully, the fourth line of each stanza is shorter than the first three lines. It can have several connotations. It suggests incompleteness, an incompleteness of the thoughts, incomplete love between the knight and the fairy lady, incomplete love of Keats and Fanny Brawne, and the incompleteness of Keats's life in this world. The rhyme scheme of the poem is ABCB, where the last words of second and fourth lines rhyme. The poet has used a number of literary devices like pathetic fallacy, repetition, onomatopoeia, and several others. So the poem has a medieval setting and it's rich in supernatural imagery. So friends, feel free to delve in the beauty of the wonderful ballad La Belle Dame sans Merci. Thanks for watching.